Hey, folks, how are you? Welcome back. Listen, today I want to talk about when your broken heart, your broken spirit, your broken living experience has made all of your life decisions for you, right? Coach Ben, what are you talking about now? What does that mean? It means if you think about some of your toughest moments in life, right? And some of the things that you've experienced, how have they shaped you? For a lot of us, they've shaped us into the men and women that we are today, beautiful, strong, courageous. But for a lot of us, it also helped to reiterate the brokenness, the dysfunction, the trauma, the drama. So if you've never heard me say this before, one of my tags, one of my lines is I coach from experience, not experiment. So what that means is I story tell. I come from the perspective of my own experience. If you can see yourself in my experience, and then the hundreds and hundreds of coaching clients and thousands of hours that I've coached, I come from that perspective as well. So I'm going to go back to my childhood, and this is unfortunately a common story for a lot of us. I come from a broken home, right? I come from a home of addiction and domestic violence. And for many years, I was estranged from my father. Like a lot of us, I don't like the term deadbeat dad or deadbeat mom, but my father would have fit into that category. My mother would have too, in all fairness. Um, and so, because I felt rejected and abandoned, I lived with anger. And anger really directed my life. It drove how I showed up. It was how I communicated. It was how I would treat myself in anger, right? And so every once in a while, I'm a coach, right? I pack in the building. That's the institute that I studied under, a international coaching federation accredited. Um, Shameless plug there. But I every once in a while I go through my materials, and this is from like maybe 12 or 13 years ago. And I went through this as I was planning for this particular talk. And I remember writing in here, I should have put something in there so I could have gotten to it quicker, but it was around anger. And a foundation principle that we studied here is each of us is greater and wiser than we appear to be, right? And it says, look past your reflection in the mirror and see the truth. I am always and always greater than I think I am. And for so many years, I just thought I was angry. I thought I deserved to be treated better. I didn't know how to ask to be treated better because I was so used to being rejected. And so I chose relationships that would ultimately reject me, right? I chose people that were not available to me. I chose even work situations that I knew weren't great for me, that I knew would ultimately kick me to the curb and not allow me to live in my full potential. But the anger drove me to do that. And here's another quote. We have thoughts, feelings, and emotions, but we are not our thoughts, feelings, or emotions. Holy spigot, Batman. When I realized that 13 years or so ago, that anger does not equate who I am as a person, that I'm deeper, bigger, better, stronger than that, I said, oh my gosh, I've got to start getting to the truth of who I am and not just the truth of my experience, because the experience is going to help cultivate and curate how I respond. But I didn't know that I was able to respond differently. So think about some of your experiences like as a child, right? Some of us lost parents very early on, right? Some of us experienced eviction. Some of us experience um, complete abandonment going into the system. And that shaped how we thought about life and how we actually used life and lived life. So the tools that we use to go through life, one of the tools that I used and that a lot of people use that have had those experiences is struggle, the struggle mindset. I'm always going to have to be in the mindset of struggling, doing just enough, getting just enough. And I don't know if we ever stop to go, what is shaping this struggle mindset? What is shaping this hustle mindset? I also grew up in an area where hustling, i.e., selling DOPE, was just the norm. It was the thing, but it was hard work. I looked at it as hard work. You always had to be on edge. To me, it was the root and the perfect recipe for anxiety, paranoia, and depression, right? But we didn't know. We were saying we had to eat, right? And so I saw that, and as I grew up in it, there was always this spirit of anxiousness, unease. And we took that with us we carried it into generation. And so the life tool that we gave our children and our children's children was hustle, was paranoia, always having to look out for yourself. Somebody's always out to get you. Struggling. I gotta rob Peter and I might not pay Paul, right? And so here's the work I want us to do. I want us to stop and just take a minute to go back into your heart's mind and think about, damn, where did I pick up this trait of struggle, of stress, of anxiety, and how has it carried me through my life? Then what I want you to do is get a piece of paper, get your phone out, because the work we're going to do is around who we really are. We want to focus on our mission statement. You know how companies have mission and vision statements? I want us to focus on that. And I'm looking at my book and I'm looking at what I thought, who I thought I was over a decade ago. And it says, who I am. Who are you? Or at least who do you want to be? Identify the key descriptives of who you are. My list of key descriptors, my mission statement. I said, I am committed to living, experiencing, and sharing joy through spirit with my family and the universe, right? My spirit. My spirit is the center of of my joy, and my joy is the center of my spirit. That is what I intend to do. But the truth of the matter is that's not who I was living to be, right? My real mission statement was, this was my mission statement and I didn't know it. I am committed to the trauma and the dysfunction and the abandonment and the rejection that I received based on the experiences I had with my parents. I am committed to belittling, degrading, decreasing in my purpose, beating up myself, and feeling like I have to fight just to cover the basics. That was my mission statement. What was yours, right? Is your mission statement, I am committed to fighting for this marriage because that is the values that were handed down to me. I am committed to dealing with anything this marriage throws in my face, no matter what, because I was taught to be loyal, right? So your mission statement is, I am going to continue to allow myself to be manipulated, mistreated, disrespected, disregarded, disassociated from anything that looks like love, empathy, compassion. That's the mission statement you're living, even though it might not be the one you think you have for yourself. So today, the work I want us to do is identify your mission statement. It's who you intend to be as a person, not all of the experiences, right? Because I've seen a lot. I've seen prostitution, I've seen DOPE addiction, I've seen beat downs, and I've experienced loss. I've seen and experienced all of those things, right? Grief, bereavement, you name it, I've seen it, and it has shaped the way that I think and the way that I function, but not necessarily always in the best ways. And so today, I'm course correcting and going, grief is a gift. It's not something that I have to fight against, pray that I don't experience anymore. It's a tool that life has given me to honor the people that I've lost, right? My purpose is my gift. It is my responsibility and my obligation to figure out how my skill, gift, and talent for coaching, for spiritually communicating to someone in a way that helps ease their pain. How do I get that out into the world? That's my mission. What's yours? Once again, I'm your coach. You know I love you. We've got to do this work, and we're going to do this work together. What if your heartbreak has been the culprit of every breakdown, dysfunction, and disorganization in your life? What if the relationship you're in right now is a manifestation of every heartbreak you've ever had, and they accommodate the darkness and the dark spaces in your life? They don't bring you light. They eat away and gnaw away at your spirit and your soul. But because you make decisions from your brokenness and from the depths of your heartbreak, you've chosen people, places, and things that reinforce that about you and about life. But today, we're going to rewrite the narrative and redefine a new mission. Who and what are you committed to? I'm committed to my happiness, my joy, my purpose. I'm committed to living a healthy life, mentally, physically, spiritually, financially. I am committed to allowing the God of my understanding to take up space in every dimension of my being. My mission. What's yours? Coach Ben, I love you so much. I love you too much. And as Stevie said, maybe too much. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. I'll talk to you soon.